That was a terrible clap. How are we struggling at clapping? Because I usually can get the... There it is.
There. The echoey pop.
The very poppy.
Alright, so let's see here.
So before our camera decided to overheat, keel over and die.
Overheat, kill over, die. Then our mics died.
Then lose our
And
audio
then we thought
file.
The audio file was like done for the last hour. Oh my gosh.
So
I'm gonna get back in it.
sweating basically is what we've been doing
Yeah.
since you guys have been gone. This little intermission. But we were talking. Well, we'll go into our next segment. Another
Yeah.
thing that we didn't get to mention was video games, and I just finished my first JRPG.
Yeah, video games is a big one too that encompasses the culture that people don't realize. They just think it's its own entity, but
It brings so much into
Yeah.
it. Like one recent example I can think of, like a melding of anime and video game, was the Persona 5 anime.
Persona 5. Yeah.
Yeah, because you already have the Persona games that are amazing that I know I should play because my friends are like, play it. But then you also have the anime that ties it together. And then another one that I remember is something called Tact OP Destiny, which, I kid you not, the whole anime was a mobile game ad. 12 episodes, dedicated story. It was the prelude to the video game, to the mobile game. Done pretty damn well, and I love the music because it has classical music throughout it. The opening, amazing. Classical music, good. The fights, the animation they used for the fights were actually pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ties with video games as well. And then didn't Toriyama and a few others work on Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger.
You were saying that, right?
And that's JRPGs, yeah. And those were essentially. And I didn't even know that Pokemon was a JRPG.
Oh, right.
I did not know that. Like, and that was one of the
First things
that anyone got introduced with anime in general. I thought Pokemon was just a cartoon.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, it's the English dub's fault, right? Because you get them in English, and you're like, okay, well, you don't think that they're from another country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the writings and all the logo, Pokemon logos, written in English, even though there is a Japanese version. And did you know what they were called in Japan actually when they first came out?
Pocket Monsters.
Pocket Monsters, yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. When I first saw the actual Japanese cards, I was like, these are fake. Like, who buys these? But I didn't know those are the originals.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was cool. I didn't know that. And then video games. I played video games. I didn't get heavy into them until PS1.
Oh, okay.
And then so because of that, I always thought that the Nintendo was subpar.
That's the funny thing. I went the Nintendo route because that's what my family got me. So like I had an N64. Okay, GameCube isn't necessarily Nintendo, but that train of thought as well. Like GameCube games, Wii's. GameCube's Nintendo?
Yes.
Oh right. I was thinking Sega because my brain was also thinking. Okay, for context, the games I played on my GameCube the most was Sonic Adventure 2. Which was originally on the Dreamcast, but then they eventually ported it to the GameCube with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Well, yeah, but that's when the IP battles were going on.
Exactly. So my brain,
Sonic, just so you know, was the answer to Mario.
Yeah, that's what Sega's combatant. Like Mario was platformer. Sega then was just like, okay, we're gonna make Sonic who's just speed, which is the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brain, whenever I think of the GameCube, I think of Sonic and I think of Sega. That's why my brain is like, yeah, the GameCube wasn't necessarily Nintendo when it is.
But did you know that these games were from Japan when you first played them?
No. I just was like, oh, cool, it's Sonic. Because I watched the TV show, which I didn't know was anime either. So it's just like, that's the thing. When you were like, oh, this is anime, I found out way later. Like, it influenced so much my life. Like,
yeah.
I had the Naruto run as a kid. Not even.
You did the Naruto run? Oh my god.
But here's the thing. I didn't call it the Naruto run. I called it the Sonic X run because in Sonic X, that's how he ran.
Sonic does run like that.
So my brain was just like, okay, it's the Sonic run.
So did what do you think? Do you think they got the run from Sonic? Because Sonic came before Naruto.
That is true. But
and that run initiates speed, right?
Yes, but I know in the original Sonic for the Genesis and everything, he has an actual sprinter's motion. He doesn't have the arms back. The first time I can remember the arms back is Sonic X and the 3D platformers. 2D, Sonic does a normal like
So
starting run up.
on
He doesn't
the
have hard
GameCube.
back. Yeah. Like even in the opening animation for Sonic Adventure 2, you see him running like normally. It's Sonic X, the anime, where he's running with his arms back.
Really?
So I think maybe they got influence from Naruto on that one.
So I wonder those kids who are running like that, were they running like Naruto or were they running like Sonic?
Honestly, either or. Oh no, and I remember such an embarrassing memory from was it 2nd or 3rd grade. So we had to end. This is my little tangent. So we had an end of day field day, and there was a karaoke machine, and it was like all the openings from cartoons, like Scooby Doo, like Kim Possible, The Replaceables. That's a niche reference and a half. And I remember like, oh, can I sing like a Sonic X? And they're like, oh, we don't have it. Like, don't worry, I remember it. So I'm up there singing Sonic X. And
no song back.
No
Oh
song. Just remember from the amount of times I watched it. And I remember at one point I'm just like, and then she's like, oh, there's a drum part. So, da, da, da,
so you know it that well?
And then I started singing it again. I don't remember right now off the top of my head, even though I kind of
sing it.
No, I kid you not. I watched the opening last night because I remembered it. I am not singing it. Oh my gosh! But I remember doing that, and I remember too. They were spray painting hair. I'm like, oh, can you give me yellow hair and make me a Super Saiyan? Not knowing that DBZ was anime, I just knew. Wait, I didn't know DBZ. Wait, what? I remember watching DBZ Kai in 5th grade. How did I know about it in 3rd grade? Yeah, like as far back as I can remember, anime was a part of me, and I just didn't know it was anime.
Yeah, like I didn't even know that. I know we're on a tangent right now, but I didn't know that Spirited Away was an anime. Mm-hmm. For one reason is one of my aunts or one of my tias, she would watch us when we were little, and she was pretty strict, so she wouldn't like let us watch anything, right?
Most tias, or grandmas.
And so she was like, oh, but you can watch this. Like she didn't like Dragon Ball Z because there was fighting, there was blood, they whatever. Mm-hmm. So she's like, you watch this one, and obviously Spirited Away is, the Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli,
which is, I'm pretty sure it's owned by Disney, or at least they're partners, right? Because I know that some of the soundtrack was made by Disney composers.
Oh. I did not know that part.
Yeah. So I think that's their reach into the Japanese market without people knowing it's Disney.
Yeah, Disney has a lot of those little like weaves in.
Yeah. So I was watching that. We would watch that, and I'm like, oh, I like that one. But I was saying, like, you're saying you gravitated towards all these things that you didn't know were anime based, right? Or at least otaku cultural based, right? Like, it came from Japan. It has Japanese roots, right?
Like, even my Tio Leo, because I was talking to him about it, like I was talking about anime, and I'm like, yeah, I don't remember like how far back it was. He was like, dude, there was one time you were sick from school. We literally just went to my room, popped in as many Berserk VHS tapes, and just watched Berserk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of remember that.
Berserk VHS, that's great.
Like the 90s Berserk. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, oh, I had very sophisticated taste as a child.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? Berserk. That was one of my starting ones. I knew good anime from the beginning.
I watched VHS. I don't watch Toonami.
So it's just like those core memories of being exposed to anime and having it my whole life, and then once you actually find out what it is, it's so cool.
That's awesome, man. And that's so like that's we got back on anime, but like that's part of it encompasses and it goes back to video games, right?
Like I just
a good example is like Sword Art Online, right? It's a new-ish anime. I would say it's like right in the middle range now of where we're at in anime, like from the 80s until now. It's right around. It's like right smack dab in the middle in the 2000s, right?
2012.
Yeah, smack dab in the middle. And then when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like it's not a Japanese heritage background style anime like Rurouni Kenshin, right? It's kind of like knights and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, sword, villages, all that, and I was like, okay, I like the environment. It's different.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they gave it the isekai aspect, and I was like, that was brand new. Yeah. I was like, wait, this is an anime video game. Is there an actual video game for it? No, there's not. I'm like, wait, so what? Because in my mind point, I was older. So I was like, what are they trying to sell here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started thinking, wait a minute, they're doing the reverse. Instead of going video game, making it into an anime, they're going anime, making it into a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Which the only other time I know of that they did that was for Gundam.
Okay.
I don't even remember the name of it. I got it at, Game Dudes?
Game Dude. Oh, right up the street?
No.
No, I don't know Game Dudes then.
Game Dude it's a big building
My brain was thinking-
it's in North Hollywood. It's yellow and black.
Oh,
Okay, if you haven't gone, I'm gonna take you one day because that's crazy. You haven't been there.
No.
It's literally it has everything. It had everything that you would ever want or even imagine back in the '90s, and they still do today.
Mm-hmm.
But they had Japanese release PS1 games
Oh.
and PS2. So I saw I don't remember the name of it, but it was a Gundam game.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Wing Zero in it, so it had to be a little bit newer. It had to be like 2000-ish, and you were able to play the Gundams. That was like a dream. I always was like, why don't they let us, like, imagine a VR as a Gundam, which I think they're doing something right now like that actually.
Oh, really?
They are.
I would actually.
I don't know who's producing it, but there's a VR coming out, and you're pretty much piloting a Gundam in a cockpit, like a Gundam cockpit.
The funny thing is the dichotomy between some Gundam fans and the people that only watch Evangelion. You're just like, oh my gosh, being a Meg would be awesome. Evangelion fans were just thinking, get damn robot Shinji. It's just like, nah, we're good. We don't want trauma. Isn't most Gundam like just trauma characters? From what I know very little about Gundam, but isn't that like it's very like character driven?
Yeah, it's very good because you can't really do much more with the mechs. Like a mech is a mech, right? You can't.
Still awesome.
Yeah, I really don't like the whole. In my opinion, like what is it? Unicorn, Gundam Unicorn, the UC universe that came out. I don't know if it's Universal Century or I don't know. There's a lot with Gundam.
Mhm.
I don't want them because they'll come for me. But the Unicorn Gundam, it's very entertaining to watch. But like when you start glowing, and you have like energy sparkles coming out of you and all that stuff. It's a little like, are they superheroes now?
It feels like,
you know?
they just like threw a Sailor Moon filter on it.
Yeah, like that's why I like Gundam Wing because it's very like this is a war.
Yeah, down to
And
like
these
the
are
nitty-gritty.
these are weapons that they don't have a special ability or anything like that. Like this is how they were engineered,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're pushed too hard, they will self-destruct.
Oh,
right? You know?
oh, really?
Yeah, like there's in Endless Waltz, Wing Zero's using his cannon and he's overheating like crazy and he just starts exploding. Because that's what would happen. Like if you overheat your car, you just run the engine for like 3 hours, it's gonna blow up.
Eventually.
You know what I mean?
Or you just do a money shift.
Yeah, like you just well if you know how to do it right, you're okay. But
Puts it into 6th gear in a 5-gear car.
yeah.
So it's just like story-driven things, and that's
Yeah.
the difference with JRPGs to
Yeah, yeah.
maybe most games we got released here in, as they love to say, the West.
Yeah.
Because what do we have? The first thing that comes to mind is like COD. It's like, okay, good-esque stories that are
Built
have
on what
never-
platform?
Again,
PlayStation, which is owned by Sony.
PlayStation.
Japanese.
True.
They so had a Japanese CEO right off on the IP. Yeah, produce it.
Yeah, and it's just like it doesn't feel like there's as much character and story behind it. Because like
No.
in Modern Warfare, like people that think about it, they remember like those moments where like Shepard betrayed somebody, introduction to Ghost, like these specific moments. Compared to JRPGs, like I just finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for the first time. If you've ever played it, if you've not played it, play it.
I've never played any of them.
Honestly, play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth if you find the time. I know, that's why I said if you find the time. Because I sunk 38 hours trying to go as quickly as possible to finish the game. Not doing side quests, literally just the main story.
Okay.
And Final Fantasy VII, if you don't know, its original release, it came in 3 different discs because that's how big it was. So for the remake, there's Final Fantasy VII remake, then there's Rebirth, and then there's gonna be another one. So I literally only finished part 1 of the game.
That's crazy. And that's how anime runs too.
Mhm.
Long stories, branching out characters,
Building, and this game
Yeah.
will stick with me. It was like that good. Like I went into a tangent before, like when I actually finished it on stream, but the character development that it gave was amazing. You built the characters throughout. It wasn't okay. Here's the characters in one box. That's it. They had the box and they just built out from there.
Hmm.
The story again, it's the first game. As soon as I was done, I'm like, I need more. It was the perfect hopping over point where if this is beat for beat of the original like PlayStation run of it, I would have automatically like popped in the second disc. I don't care what time, what hour, what responsibilities. I would have popped in the second disc, being like, I need to know the rest of the story. So that's the special thing with JRPGs. It's the whole story. It's not like a moment or two.
Yeah.
Those moments are elevated. Like when I saw Sephiroth for the first time, I was losing it. I knew Sephiroth was a big bad in video games. I did not know how much of a big bad he was. Like even in the final boss fight, I'm like, how are they supposed to beat him at the end? I have no clue because it was built up that well. Then there's questions where like, wait, what's Ka's backstory? What's Tifa's backstory? You get a bit of Aerith's backstory, but then she mentions in one thing, you're like, what is this? And then Sephiroth. And they just know how to structure a story perfectly that just draws you in. So that's why, again, most of these things, there's always so much story and personality behind it because it does its own thing. I think here in the West, or like in America, we're used to building off of a generic idea to some degree. Like for example, COD. All boys love guns, all boys love war. They're like, okay, we're just gonna focus on this.
Yeah.
But for example, how you're saying with Gundam, they're like, okay, let's take this war aspect and let's elevate it. Let's give it just something different, something new. And like even Godzilla, like it's supposed to be a
It's when they got nuked.
When they got nuked.
Yeah.
It is this cultural thing that they take what they originally have, which is something that people know, sometimes people love, sometimes people things that are tragic.
Yeah.
And they just know how to make it into something that everybody can relate to, everybody can see, everybody can grow on.
And it still gives credit to their culture.
Exactly.
And and we talk about that too. That's why anime is different than a cartoon.
So much so.
Right? There's realism behind it, there's history behind it, there's art behind it, and just pure original creativity. Name one thing that's ever been remade in anime.
Well, besides the isekai genre. Isekais are so much.
No, I'm not talking about like a genre.
You're talking about a series?
I'm talking about like an actual character.
Oh.
Like like all the remakes of they're doing right now with Disney movies.
Okay, yeah, that's true. They're kind of just like slapping.
Like
just a brand
this
thing
is
on it.
like supposed to be one of the most creative companies in the entire on the planet. And you're telling me they can't come up with original content?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we are. It's Marvel. No, it's not. That's Stan Lee. You're just piggybacking off of him and creating more characters, but that's not original content.
And then like the live action remakes that they're doing, like you had the
Star
Lion
Wars
King.
too. They're just remaking stuff.
Dude,
right?
you don't know how much it blew my mind when I saw episode 7 for the first time, and my uncle was literally like, you know, that's just episode 4, but just bigger.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And then look at what they're doing. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but in the Star Wars franchise now, they have a bunch of which are actually kind of good. They have this one called it's a show. It's on Disney Plus, and it's like Stories of the Sith. So it gives you back.
Yeah, Stories
but
of
it's
the
an
Tales of the Jedi.
animation.
Oh, you mean Star Wars Visions?
No, this
What?
is new. It's just got released.
Like how recent? Because the only thing I can think of is
maybe
like
a month ago.
Oh, okay. Because the last thing I
Yeah.
remember is Tales of the Jedi,
No,
which has Dooku and like Qui-Gon.
which is okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, and they have that one called Bad Batch,
Bad Batch is good.
which is animation.
Yeah.
They're learning like, wait a minute. We can flesh out stories way better with anime. You can because you don't have a lot of the stuff involved with like actors and all that stuff too, right?
But you are able to
Yeah.
stretch limitations.
Yeah.
And that's what they're starting to understand. Because like again,
Which has been done for how long in Japan? Like,
so long.
so like that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I gravitated towards that stuff, and that's why let's bring it back to video games. Without Nintendo, there is no video game industry. None. Like nothing. Nintendo is top dog.
Yep.
I don't care. Like, oh, well, it's for kids. Well, guess what? Kids like video games.
And who buys all the things?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we're running short on time, but we can still talk about more, right, later.
Yeah.
But Nintendo has such a history with technology and with Sony and with helping each other and then competing against each other and then bringing it over to the US. If it wasn't for Nintendo, there would be no video games here because Atari tanked the US market.
Did it
in the
have like
80s.
no memory or whatever like built in, or was that a different system?
It had to do not just with the system itself, but it had to do more with like they just didn't hit the mark with video games. It wasn't like Atari games. I'll be honest. Like in my opinion, they're not fun. Like they're boring. Like there's no art aspect to them.
No, because a lot of them were just like movie ports. Like for example, the most infamous game I can think of on the Atari was the ET one.
Okay, yeah, and that's not an original creation by Atari. That's an IP loaned to them by Spielberg.
Exactly.
Right. Whereas there was no Donkey Kong video, a movie or cartoon or anything before they just like someone just went, this is my character, this is my idea, and I'm gonna make it into a video game.
Mm-hmm.
That's original. That's what I'm saying. So that's one of the top reasons why I like all this stuff is that everything's always original.
And it pushes boundaries.
And it does. And like if anything ever gets remade or gets piggybacked on something else, it kind of is seen as like, okay, like it's subpar. Like Boruto, Naruto's son, right? His anime, it could be very, very good, right? But because it's piggybacking off of the success of Naruto, it's seen as like, and it's true. It's seen as like, okay, like it would feel better to the fans if you just made a Ambu Black Ops. Right?
Oh, that would be awesome with Kakashi Itachi.
Right?
Exactly.
Like I'm not saying just follow call it Kakashi, but I mean literally like flesh out the workings of the Ambu Black Ops. Right?
Because they're just like they're so secretive, they're so powerful. Like you have Kakashi, Itachi, and like a few other like prominent ninjas.
Well, Madara wasn't. Well, he actually was Madara. Did he invent the first? No. I forget his name. The captain of the Ambus, the one that he went dark, he went bad.
Oh.
He was trying to get Sasuke back. Doza, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good story arc. And I was like, man, how did he get to that point? But that's
That's something that
and then the whole thing with like Itachi killing the Uchiha clan. That was all Ambu Black Ops.
Yeah,
we got some of that, and I was like, whoa.
They put it like in the backstory too. Like apparently, like this part is like crazy. Itachi,
true ninja stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, like they could really, and then in that timeline in Naruto, nobody was really OP. Chakras were being used, but very subliminally, like very like subtly, right? So it would have been like, okay, shadow cloning and all that stuff, yeah, but you get one shadow clone, not thousands. You get one, and it's like, okay, how do I intellectually use this to my advantage? Or, you know what I mean? That to me, that would be like, man, I would watch that.
That would be like,
so, come on.
And the bad thing with Boruto, because I remember when Naruto ended and then when Boruto started, it picked up way too quickly right after. Like it was like Naruto, like what, a few months, and then Boruto right after that. Like someone did a comparison. They're like, oh, here's episode 37 of Boruto, and it's like Boruto with Himawari, and then like the little drawing, like dancing around. Then episode 37 of Naruto is like one of the sound ninjas, like in the Chunin exams, being like murdered or something.
Really like destroyed.
Literally. So they're like, they hated the difference that it was, and all the filler. Because apparently Boruto is like really good now, from what I've heard. Boruto fanboys, don't please come after us that hard. Like I know it gets good. I need to watch it, my friend. I know who you are. You're gonna say something. It got good. I feel it took too long to get there.
Yeah.
You have to go through all this filler to get there. I would prefer to just wait. People are gonna, if you wait longer for something and it comes out, people are gonna love it. Like Attack on Titan, 7 years. People still went back and watched it.
Yeah, but Attack on Titan was good the entire time.
Okay, fair enough. But like Naruto's popularity, I think could have given it maybe a few years to like marinate that it's done, to then bring in Boruto. People are like, yeah, I kind of missed this a little bit, and then you see Boruto, you're like, oh, this is actually good. Because that first opening scene with Boruto and I'm forgetting the other dude's names, fighting on the stuff on the faces.
Well, that's the arc that makes sense, because it's a relationship to Kaguya, right? And what that's all about, right? So that makes sense, right? Naruto's not gonna live forever. He's not Goku. So you have to pass the baton at some point, right?
That is true. Even in GT, if I remember correctly, Goku became a big.
You know that they're trying to make GT canon?
They are?
I've been reading a lot of articles that they're trying to. I think the concept here is that SSJ4 is the ultimate, is the Monkey King form.
Oh.
Because he's Goku. Monkey King.
The funny thing is, I remember learning about Super Saiyan 4 because of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 on my Wii.
Okay. Oh wow.
Dude.
But they're actually they're alluding that means that form is stronger than Ultra Instinct.
Really?
Because it's pure Saiyan. Ultra Instinct is not Saiyan. Ultra Instinct is the technique from the gods.
That is true. Ooh, okay, that actually would be pretty
So
good.
it's sustainable, and apparently I have GT right there. I haven't watched it.
It's just like, if only we knew where to find all this
Where
information.
can we watch GT without? But apparently that form, even to Ultra Instinct standards, that form, he's still faster in that form than he is as Ultra Instinct. And Ultra Instinct is not sustainable. It's not a sustainable form. It's like Kaioken, right? It's insane ability for a short burst of time.
Yeah.
Whereas a full transformation, like
It's
Super Saiyan, and then Ape. So Super Saiyan 4 apparently is Ape mode, and I think Super Saiyan 3
Just put together.
form together to be full control, because in Ape form they're in rage mode.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, it's, again, this is why I like Japanese, because you need to learn to control your rage, right? If you subdue your rage, all of a sudden you obtain power unbelievable to anyone else, right? And it's,
That's
okay,
true.
so that's the Monkey King. He gets his tail back and all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, he does.
So that's, I get it, but it's just funny because now they're trying to make a canon and everyone's like, GT sucks.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's just like,
It's like, wait a minute, wait, hold on, were they onto something here? But yeah, so video games are always tied in to all this whole culture, right? Racing, cars,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's like you like, in a sense, video games give you the ability to live it without having to work for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like that nice little connection of bridging like anime and the real life, because of course it's just
Yeah.
like you can't go driving down the highway at 100 miles per
and then
hour
just throw the
legally.
Yeah.
Drive legally. I do not condone, disclaimer. Obey speed limits. I don't need my butt getting sued.
Yeah.
But it's just like you typically can't do that unless you go onto like a track. But in a video game, like you have racing rigs nowadays where
Yeah.
you feel like you're
Yeah.
driving the car, and it gives you that sensation. Of course,
Yeah.
not to its fullest, but
Yeah,
it
it's still
feels good.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the real thing, but you get it's imaginary, just like anime, just like video games. It's your imagination coming to life, and then you get to kind of experience that in that game. So that's why video games are part of it too, you know.
Yep.
And then the last part, which we will conclude on, is the whole overall culture of Japan.
Of Japan.
And like for me, the number one thing is for sure like the values and the respect
Is the biggest thing.
that is instilled and given to all their generations, right? Like the fact that like in Japan, and there's debate on this, but like there's not a homelessness problem, right? There are people who don't make enough there, who are hard on their luck, but the culture, they will never go out and beg someone because it demeans them as a human, right? Which in a way it should. Like you should want to succeed on your own,
Yeah.
right? You should. If you need help, fine, but go ask someone to help you get a job or to learn a skill,
Yeah.
which is what they do there. They have these IT or digital dens there that you can like learn the computer stuff or something like that, or they're called cyber cafes, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And then you can sleep there
Yeah.
for like $50 a night.
Which is honestly like
Right?
not bad.
So it's like, okay, like it keeps you off the street, and you also you know you can't do certain things in those places. So like it keeps you clean,
Yeah.
and then it gives you a purpose. Like you're doing stuff for a company possibly, you know, and at least you're building a sense of value, and then you can work your way up from there, right?
Japan, like
So
from what you're saying with that, it gives you the sense of being able to redeem yourself, and it pushes
Yeah.
the people towards like we want you to learn how to succeed.
Yeah.
We want you to learn how to be able to come back from whatever you have and grow as a person.
Yeah, I don't see that in any other culture. I definitely don't see it in Latino culture. If anything, I see like it's more like shaming you, right? It's like, oh, well, so and so's doing this and so and so's doing that, so like, you know.
But it's
and
never
I'm
gonna
not thinking bad about it. I'm just saying that's
That's
what I've experienced.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, so, and their thing is, the tougher they are on you, the more you'll try. Which in reality, that's not really
always the case.
Always what works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, you know, in Japan, from what I've researched and what I've seen and what I've experienced, is that they have you think about your purpose at a very young age, and what it is you're actually good at, and what it is, and be honest with yourself, like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. It's like, I don't know, what's the Japanese name?
I literally went straight to Hanako. Because I was...
My boy, Japanese name, I don't know.
My brain is going... I went Tenzin, oh my gosh. I know so many names in Japanese. Takeshi.
Okay, Takashi. Your dream is to be a wrestler.
Hey.
You're probably... Well, I actually shouldn't say that, they have some wrestlers. Okay. Your dream is to be a basketball player. Chances are you're a Japanese man, you're not going to be very tall. Based on stats, you're probably not going to play in the NBA. So, let's figure out what you're good at, right?
Exactly.
That's the kind of, like, and then they, as they grow up, they learn that respect too. Like, okay, like, they respect themselves, they respect other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they pick up their own trash. Just things like small things. So, like, stuff like that, like the culture and, like, what they do, like, the meals that they eat are from, like, the beginning of their history pretty much still. Like, you know, sushi and katsu and all that stuff, you know, the heritage, you know, of rice and everything. Like, it's just, like, the architecture.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The architecture, the way, the landscape, and how, like, they literally have everything.
They do.
Snow, deserts. It's like a extremely large Hawaii.
My brain immediately went to it's just Minecraft with all the biomes.
Yeah, it is. You know, and they have, you know, all of that, man. Like, so that's the culture part of it that I like, you know, as far as Japan goes, you know, the history, the history for sure, like, you know, and then obviously the art. Like, they've had amazing art. Probably I would argue the best in the world ever. You know, the tapestries, the water paintings that have come out of Japan, all that stuff, and then they continue to improve, and all of that relates into, like, what they put into this stuff.
Exactly.
Right? It just gets all put into one package, and then you're like, it's just wow. Like, every scene you're like, whoa, what's that? Oh, what's that? Why does the house look like that?
It's like you watch like that, like 4K.
Why are they eating with sticks? Why, you know, like, it's just so, like, different, but it's in a good way. So yeah, I'm going to Japan for the first time.
Ah, you lucky
ever.
Son of a gun. I'm just gonna be sitting here.
I hope and hopefully because you never know. Like, you know, you never know. It's a big trip. It's like, you know, so hopefully everything works out the way it needs to work out to go.
While you're off in Japan, I'm just sitting here, just like.
I'll bring back some Japan content.
But there's just so much liveliness within the country in every aspect of it that you go.
Yeah.
Any sort of part of the culture, the architecture, the music, the arts, the pop culture as well.
Yeah.
But then as well, just the beauty of the land itself.
The music.
Oh, dude, I
don't even know, like, what it is. Like, I know you like, you know, the more modern type musics. Yeah. Which I do too. But, like, I don't know what it is. So sometimes I'll just search, like, traditional Japanese music. I don't even know what it is. And I could listen to it for hours.
Yeah,
I listen to it for like, you know, the strings, the drums, it's almost, and again, this is like a thing they do. It's a long story. You know, that they're putting out in front of you, and they do expect you to sit there and chill out and pay attention and learn something, right? And I think that's the big one too. Is like, every time I watch a good new anime, even an old good anime, it always teaches you something. Yeah. Right? Which we said that too. A book can do that too, right? But it doesn't. If it's an educational book, it usually doesn't do it in a creative way. Where this will not only entertain you, but it'll also educate you, and it'll teach you something that you maybe didn't know before. And if you think like, oh no, I don't think that's right, or I don't think that's true, then you can research it. And that's what I do. That's why I dive into, like, the history part of it. I'm like, why did they do that? Where did this come from? Like, there's an anime movie, I don't think you've watched it yet, but I've told you to watch it. Grave of the Fireflies.
I do need to watch that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that, in a sense, is similar to what Godzilla is based on.
Mhm.
But this is like an actual first-hand account of children, what they experienced after that bomb drop that we dropped on them.
Mhm.
Right? And I'm not a crier.
But
And I felt that one. I was like, whoa, am I about to cry? I don't know. How many times have I cried in front of you, babe?
Twice.
Twice?
we have our producer off screen.
Our producer and my wife is back there with her producer hat on.
Yeah. But there's just so much within every aspect of Japan that has become a part of us, that's helped us just grow, mature, find a part of us, push ourselves.
Yeah.
So much within it that honestly, there's some aspects of myself, and I think you probably agree with the statement too, that you can't pull anime in Japan apart from us. It is like, it's kind of like the Venom symbiote. If you don't hit it and make vibrations, it's just, it is who we are, it is what we love, it is how we express ourselves, it is how we motivate, push, and just survive and be.
Yeah, it's part of who we grew up and who we're probably still going to become.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just part of it. Because I definitely learned lessons. I mean, that's a lot for our first episode.
And Grandpa's getting tired.
Grandpa.
Oh, he's gonna get back at me in this next episode, I know it. But you guys have heard us saying what we love about anime. The other thing is, what do you guys like? Because the thing is, you might overlap with me in the things that I enjoy and that I take from it. You might
overlap with me and from what I do and my experiences, and I mean, they can.
It'll maybe
if you might vibe with both of us,
or maybe neither of us, but maybe somebody down in the comments that you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that specific anime. I thought that specific thing, and it'd be fun to look down there and just see what you guys think and what you've learned. So throw it down there. If you have any suggestions, throw it down there. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be really scared for concerns because it's literally the first episode. I expect that maybe like episode 27, but throw it down there. We want to
interact with you guys and figure out, like, you know, what is it that, you know, people think, you know, what is it that connects all of us, right? And what it is that we all think is similar and that we're being bridged together. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be about anime. It could be about cars, right? It doesn't even have to be about Japanese cars. It could be about American muscle cars, right?
Or like
you're all engineered in a similar way. Like, you know, it's just, this is the medium we want to be around because this is what we love.
Yeah.
Right? And it's all related to something, right? Like, there's an anime of, like, boxing is a Western sport, right? There's an anime about boxing.
Megalobox. Hajime no Ippo. My friend as soon as my friend hears Hajime no Ippo, he's going crazy right now.
You'd be like, oh, I don't subscribe to anime. I know I'm a fighter. Like, there's lots of fighting animes. Like, so I'm sure there's something for you.
There's gonna be something for everybody, and that's kind of what we like. Because as well, the two of us, as you can see, we love anything and everything. So if we hear like something down below where you guys are like, oh, how about this?
Yeah.
We'd probably go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we'll be, all right, cool. Let's just try it out. Let's check it out, you know, and see what it's about. You know, if you guys don't really know what this is, but you know, you vibe with us because we're athletes. You know, I played baseball. He played soccer. He played very competitively. I played all the way up through high school, right? So we were pretty good at what we did. And you're like, you know what? I never got to really relate to someone that like likes what I like, but I'm interested in this, but I don't know who to go to. Come to us in the comments. You know, shoot us a comment or whatever. You know, interact with other people down there. All that stuff.
Yeah, just bridge together. But yeah. So once again, from a dumpy little garage in the San Fernando Valley,
this is Bridging Otacos.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Adios.
Bye.